Welcome. And today's topic, the reason for recording this video, is to kind of explain why I put together this program. I've had Freight Brokers Academy for 6, 7 years now, and we've trained hundreds and hundreds of people wanting to get into the freight brokerage business, predominantly as freight agents, although many have gone on to get their license, their bond, and run successful freight brokerage businesses. But we don't cover and really go into an in-depth, I think, as much as is needed for people that want to have their own licensed and bonded freight brokerage business. And that's kind of how I started in the business. And I remember how difficult it was when I started my freight brokerage business. There was no training program that I went through when I started my business. I didn't have a partner that knew how to do the business. I didn't have anyone to coach me. I didn't have anybody that was close to me that, gave me the keys to success and the type of things to avoid. I kind of learned through the school of hard knocks. A lot of things that I did early on didn't work. And looking back, there are a lot of things I could have and should have done differently that would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of stress, a lot of effort. And I really think for those individuals that want to take their business to the next level, want to be totally in business for themselves, and don't want to have to rely on anybody else, don't want to have to work underneath somebody else's license, want their own license, want their totally in control of all the decision making of their business, and maybe want people working underneath them to really leverage that opportunity of having that license and the ability to expand. That's why I created this new program, because I really think there are distinct, significant differences between just working as an independent agent, which is a great thing to do, work from home as an independent freight agent or any kind of a representative working from home. A lot of flexibility, a lot of freedom, a lot of financial opportunity. But it's a whole nother thing when you're running a business, you're the licensed individual, you have to pay for a bond, you might have to secure the insurance, you are responsible for hiring and training and managing and motivating people. So a whole nother level, and a whole lot of other skills that are required to do that kind of business, and do it successfully. So that's kind of what this program is for. So I guess to put this in perspective, let me kind of tell you my story. I got into the freight brokerage business because I was in the trucking business. I had actually a client of mine who was interested in getting in the trucking business. I actually tried to talk them out of it. I didn't think it was a great business to be in. It just seemed like the margins were low, the costs were high, and I didn't see where a lot of people in startup mode were making a lot of money. Unfortunately, when I couldn't convince him not to get into the business, somehow I allowed him to convince me to get into business with him as a minority partner and the managing partner in the business. So I started out by starting a trucking company from scratch, going through the licensing, getting the insurance, acquiring the trucks, hiring drivers, and then eventually, finding loads for the trucks. And it was through and acting as the dispatch manager for that trucking company. And I ran that company, primary person, for about 2 years. And after over a year as the dispatch manager and getting calls every hour of the day or night, 7 days a week, holidays, Sundays, 3 o'clock in the morning, truck broke down, truck driver got pulled over on the side. DOT wasn't going to let him go anywhere until they got something fixed. Everything you could possibly imagine that we had to deal with. One of the things I realized is that the people I dealt with to help get loads, I predominantly use freight brokers. It just seemed easier than trying to develop relationships directly with shippers. And we had dozens and dozens of brokers we dealt with, but over time I found that there were one or two that seemed consistently would touch base with me. In fact, one particularly with one of my favorite freight brokerage companies, he called every morning, and he usually called me by 8:30, 9 o'clock at the latest, just to check to see if I needed any loads, and where my trucks were, or when they were going to be empty, if I needed any help. One thing I noticed though over time is that as reliable as the freight broker I dealt with the most was in contacting me and following up and getting us good paying loads, is oftentimes when I tried to reach him late in the day, I couldn't. He just wasn't there. I could never get a hold of him on the weekends and never get a hold of him at night. He didn't work holidays, and I soon came to realize that the money was in the freight brokerage, and that was a whole lot easier than trucking, and that's how I got started. It appeared to be a simpler and easier business to me than it actually was. And I skipped the stage when I got into the business of becoming an agent and working for someone else. I wanted to run my own business. I wanted to be in charge. So I went ahead, got the license, got the bond, got the insurance, and just started as a freight broker business of my own. Well, I didn't realize, all the intricacies, having to create simple things like even the paperwork, having agreements with trucking companies, the carriers that we were going to use to haul loads, developing the legal contracts that we'd have with shippers that we were going to be getting trucks for. Hiring freight agents to work underneath the license of our company and making sure we had the right agreements in place for them, developing commission plans. How were they going to get paid? What were they going to be responsible for? What were we going to be responsible for? And then training. A lot of freight agents or people that were willing to work as freight agents didn't have any experience. As a new freight brokerage company, I didn't have a whole lot of leverage to recruit experienced agents. I didn't have a whole lot to offer. We were new. We didn't have much there. We were just getting started. So it was easier to recruit new freight agents. Problem was the new freight agents didn't have their own book of business, and many times didn't know much about the freight or anything about the freight brokerage business. So had to develop a training program. And this required me to really pretty much learn and do everything from scratch, figured out what worked, and unfortunately, a lot of things that didn't work through trial and error. And boy, that wasted a lot of time, cost a lot of money, because every month as a freight broker for the business, I was paying insurance every month. I'd already had to pay license up front, business expenses. I had an office. I had a place for people to come to work. I mean, this is way pre-COVID days, and so we actually had a place for people to come to work. I had an office where I, came to work. So there's the rent, there's the electricity, there's phone bills. We're paying to get access to the load boards, and so just all of these things. What's the right software to use? The logistics management software, and all the different levels. There's the $29.95 a month, $99 a month, $150 a month. As 1 user, 10 users. Do you buy the software loaded on your computers, or do you go online access? So all of these things that were a huge challenge for me starting out. Well, again, the reason I developed this program is because I didn't want anybody else to have to go through that. Boy, wouldn't it be nice if someone gave you a roadmap, step-by-step directions on how to do what needed to be done on a daily basis, right from the start, and then to grow your business quickly, simply, easily, stress-free, step by step. So that's what this program is all about. The Broker Business Success Program teaches you step by step, gives you the forms, gives you the procedures, helps you to make sure you know, what you need, when you need it, why you need it, and how to do it, and how to do it properly, efficiently, productively, so you maximize your potential profit, your potential income, and minimize your costs. And I think even more importantly, minimize your stress level, your risk, your downside. Just avoid all that wasted time and effort that I ended up having to go through learning from scratch, doing the trial and error process. So in this program, it shows you module by module what we cover, everything you need to know, everything you need to do, and our kind of joint venture partner program where we partner you up with us and help you to get the things you need. So if you're not a natural born salesperson, or you've never had to recruit salespeople or train people or manage people or motivate people, we actually help you to do that. And in many cases, we'll do that for you. So it's a fantastic program. I'm very excited to be able to offer